Hello, folks, lonely wanderers, fans of movies, perhaps, that have stumbled across the pod. Welcome to what I suppose will be the first episode of the Guy Who Likes Movies podcast. It's a working title. Don't give me much slack about it. I know it's not much original. Actually, fuck you. I spent a lot of time working on that title. I'm quite proud of it. Because it's right there in the title. You know what you're getting into. You know what you're paying for. You ever go see a movie and you're like, what the fuck was that? You go see Bloodbath 4. And it's about, a mother dying of cancer. And you're like, what's going on here? It's not much of a bloodbath. Because she ends up living at the end. Bloodbath 4 is not a real movie. What I'm trying to get at is this is a movie podcast, people. We talk about movies over here. Since this is the first episode, I figure I should probably set this as a bit of a precedent for sort of what all future episodes will look like. Which is sort of what I'm excited about this podcast. I think there's a huge future for just expansion in general. I think there's lots we could do, I plan on doing just lots of solo episodes, mainly, talking about movies that I've seen before, perhaps, that I love, and then maybe I rewatched recently, and I think I just want to hop on the pod and give a few words about it. New movies that I've watched for the first time, both in the comfort of my home and perhaps a new theatrical release. Speaking of, we have the Odyssey coming out soon. We'll get there. We'll get to movie news in a sec. But I do plan on having guests. I think having guests on the pod would be fun. I'd love to interview people about their movie tastes, likes, just ask them all sorts of questions. And talk about a movie that we've both seen, because I have lots of friends that I watch movies with. It's just sort of a thing I do with lots of my friends. I love to sit down and watch a good film with a buddy of mine, with my girlfriend even, and she's always showing me movies, so I doubt, I would be surprised if I didn't have her on the pod. So yeah, that's kind of what you can expect, from the future of this podcast. Overall movie news, movie talk, and reviews of whatever said movie is. We're 3 minutes in. Before we get to the movie, though, I will reveal that today's movie, the first episode of the pod, recently watched, never seen before, so this is not a rewatched review. It's going to be Ghost Dog: The Way of the Samurai. It's a 1999 release. I watched this on Criterion. We'll sort of get into the details a little bit later, but I am excited to talk about this movie, very much so. But in other words, people, folks, there's a lot going on. There's a lot going on in the movie world. It's sort of, people are losing their minds. If I'm going to keep it frank, let's talk about A24 for a sec. I'm sure most of you have heard about this AI deal going on between the company. I gotta be honest. I feel bad for Kane Parsons, who has been on an active anti-AI press run for quite literally the entire, press run for Backrooms. He was just slashing AI in every interview, almost, it seemed like. So, I can't imagine that he had any foresight to what was happening with this deal, or, and not that he would have a say in it, like he's a stakeholder of the company or anything. But boy, oh boy, I feel like he really got a pretty shit end of the stick, I will say, because now he's kind of stuck to this company like glue. They already announced a sequel for this movie. You know they're gonna milk him dry. And I would imagine that he's in a bit of a situation here where, contractually he's obligated to give A24 a new Backrooms movie. What this deal, holds in store for the future of A24, I'm not sure, but, yeah, it's sort of obvious to say that, nothing beneficiary is coming out of here. A24 was once a company that people sort of held highly as, the sort of, I don't know, the sort of, the safe haven of indie cinema. It felt like this safe place where they were, A24, they were taking chances on new directors, low budget films, unique ideas, what have you not, which I imagine will still be the case, although if I have been saying this for years, the abundance of A24 movies has started to dwindle the quality of the overall studio. I don't know if that makes sense. I used to be very excited going into A24 movies, no matter what. Theater, at home, whatever. If I saw that A24 logo, I said, okay, baby, we're in for a bit of a ride. And that effect has not lasted, I will say. As the years have gone by, A24, I still do trust them to an extent. I still think they're, pumping out good movies every now and again. But boy, yeah, this deal is disappointing, to say the least. It is, it's not great. But, really only the future will tell, I suppose, with that. In other news, The Odyssey. Christopher Nolan has a new movie coming out soon, I believe next week. I do plan on seeing it in theaters. Not IMAX. I don't have an IMAX theater anywhere near, and I do not, I get it. I know there's certain movies that are like, you gotta see it in IMAX. You'll fucking jizz your cum sock if you go see it. But, I'm just gonna go see it in theaters. I'm gonna see it on the big screen. I still think the effect is pretty good. I do agree that there are some movies you gotta see in theaters. Now that I'm thinking of it, though, I don't believe I've been to an IMAX theater. Or yes, I have. Yes, I have. I have been to an IMAX theater. I saw Godzilla. I believe it was Shin Godzilla in an IMAX theater. That was a fun time. I ordered a whole pizza. Yep, that's right, people. They have whole pizzas at the movie theater. It was quite a while ago, so God knows how expensive that fucking pizza was. But I digress. Christopher Nolan, people. Now, I have not been now hear me out here. Not that I don't like Christopher Nolan, not that I'm even sort of mid on him. I love most of his movies that I've seen. I don't think I'm as big of a Nolan head as a lot of people are. Some people, these movies come out and they buy 4 or 5 fucking tickets and they see his movies over and over again. I mean, the glaze can be unreal with this guy. This guy's a walking fucking Dunkin' Donuts. But, that being said, there's been a lot of controversy around this movie. I know lots to do with the set pieces and sort of the time of it and it not really making sense, and even some of the dialect or dialogue that was shown in some of the trailers. People aren't happy Travis Scott is in this thing. I gotta say, it's definitely an odd choice. Travis Scott in a goddamn Nolan movie. There's gonna be a Travis Scott song in there, and it's gonna be odd. It's gonna be odd. I'm not against it. I'm always for new. I always like when directors take a big swing, even with a failed execution. Not saying that's what this is gonna be, but I always appreciate a director taking a big swing at a thing. So, yeah, I'm gonna go see this thing next week. I imagine that'll probably be its own episode. And we'll see. Just a lot of talk around this movie. Most Nolan movies do have that. Me personally, I love Memento. I'm a big Memento guy. I don't know why. It's weird. A lot of these big directors, I find myself leaning towards maybe a movie in their catalog that's more obscure. Maybe not obscure is the right word, but maybe on the more of the least liked side of their filmography, or not like top 3. Like, I love After Hours for Martin Scorsese, which is probably a movie I'll do eventually. And I feel like when people talk about his work, that's not a movie of his that gets brought up that much. Same with Punch Drunk Love from Paul Thomas Anderson. And here's the thing. I fucking love Paul Thomas Anderson. We're talking Boogie Nights. We're talking The Master. One Battle After Another. He's got classics, alright? And don't murder me, people. I haven't seen There Will Be Blood yet. But that's why I made this goddamn podcast, so maybe I can watch more movies. Cross them off my watch list. I got a bit of an excuse, okay? Christopher Nolan. No, not Christopher Nolan. Paul Thomas Anderson. I love Punch Drunk Love. It's my favorite movie of his. Now, do I think that movie's better than a Boogie Nights or a One Battle After Another? No, I do not. It just speaks to me personally. I love that movie so goddamn much. It's a fun movie. Same with After Hours. If you haven't seen After Hours, go ahead and pick it up 4K on Criterion. It's probably one of my favorite 4K transfers that I have on there. Speaking of Criterion, there's a 50% off deal going on right now. They do this every summer from the start of June to towards the end of July. It's a great deal. I blow my wad of money every year when this happens. I'm currently sitting at 62 movies on my Criterion. I plan on getting more this Monday. Very excited about that. Twin Peaks Fire Walk With Me is what I'm eyeing, and that'll complete my Lynch Criterion collection. Actually, no, I need the Elephant Man, and that'll be it. Perhaps maybe an Anderson movie, because I almost have all of his. I just need Isle of Dogs, Budapest. I got Budapest. French Dispatch, and the Darjeeling Unlimited, the fucking, Adrian Brody. Adrian Brody turns me off. I don't know why. Does anybody else have that? Not sexually, of course. I'm not commenting on the man's stature or even looks, really. Something about the guy, I don't know. Anywho, people, we're 13 minutes in, and I imagine, this is a loose structured show here. We don't know what we're doing. We don't got much structure, people. I imagine the longer the pod goes on, we'll start to develop, maybe segments. The show will have a little bit of more order. For right now, it's just sort of fun chaos. And we're living in it, baby. So, and if I have guests, I imagine these episodes will be longer. But for now, I don't have much other to talk about. So I think we're going to dive right into the movie at hand, people. Ghost Dog. Way of the Samurai. This is a film directed by, and I hope I get this last name correct, Jim Jarmusch. 1999, this year came out, right under the wire. I watched this movie on Criterion. This is one of my newer buys. One that I got from the 50% off deal, actually. I watched this with my buddy James. I knew he would like this movie. Me and him kind of have a love for samurai films. We watched Seven Samurai recently. That would be a great one to do an episode about. But we're not here to talk about Akira Kurosawa, people. We're here to talk about goddamn Jim Jarmusch and Ghost Dog, starring Forrest Whitaker, who, we'll get there, but wow. What a What an amazing performance from Forrest Whitaker. I can't name any other movies off the top of my head that I've seen him in, which is crazy because he is just a guy that you know. You know what I mean? Like, he's a very recognizable face. You're like, oh, fuck, I've definitely seen this guy before. Blew my socks off with this role. I mean, it's a very quiet role. It's a very quiet performance. But he does great with it, man. He does so many great things with it. So let's get into it. I'm going to do a bit of a run through, sure, maybe an overview of what the movie's about. And then we'll possibly going to get into spoiler territory. I don't know how that's going to work with newer movies. I don't see myself trying to walk on eggshells around spoilers. Especially this movie. It came out in 1999. If you want to know, people, or if you don't want to know, rather, go watch the movie. Okay? I'm here to tell you if you should go see the movie. And maybe tell you some things about it. If you don't want to hear that, go see it, watch it, come back, listen to this. Alright. Ghost Dog. This movie starts with a man on a roof and a coop of pigeons, and you're like, okay, what's going on here? Actually, it starts with a pigeon flying over you, and you got this nice little shot, birds flying over you, and you got the camera sort of looking down at the city landscape like a bird's eye view. Thought that was a cool little opening. You got RZA on the soundtrack here, which, holy shit, we'll get there. The score's amazing. The score's amazing to the fucking movie. RZA throws a Wu-Tang song in there, which was that was great to hear. But he did Kill Bill, and that's one of my favorite movie scores of all time. So I knew this was gonna be good, and the RZA delivers, man. It's amazing. And if you do pick this up on Criterion, I highly recommend checking out the special features. There's lots of cool special features. RZA has an interview talking about just a lot of his connections with, because obviously they're, Wu-Tang is heavily inspired by the old samurai films and stuff. So it was really cool to kind of hear him talk about that and how he implemented that into this movie. You have a modern day interview with Forrest Whitaker, and his name would be blanking me right now, but the French gentleman, who did amazing also in the movie. He did great. There's an interview with them that you can catch, and they talk about the movie years later. That's good. I believe there's a movie commentary in there. The special features are great. And it does come with a little packet. Probably heard me open the disc there. Inside is a little Book of the Samurai, Hagekura. Probably sounded like an idiot pronouncing that. But it's awesome. This little mini book comes with all these little, sort of sayings. These samurai codes that Forrest Whitaker sort of lives by and reads out during the movie, which is another part of the movie I loved. Every now and again, the movie will sort of fade out to black, and it'll cut to Forrest Whitaker narrating as he reads these samurai texts. And this movie is very engaging, man. It is a bit of a slow burn at first, sure. But there's so many things to love about this movie. I kind of sidelined a little bit. Let me talk about what this movie's about. Forrest Whitaker, he sort of works for this other guy. Who, the backstory is explained later on what their connection is. This old man saved Ghost Dog in a situation, and Ghost Dog felt he sort of owed his life to this man. He's his retainer, as Forrest Whitaker says in this movie. And the old man's character name is blanking on me right now, and I should remember it, because I just watched it. And boy did he say his name a lot. So I am bad with character names, people, I got Ghost Dog because how do you forget a name like that? And it's on the cover, and I'm looking at it right now, and I'm reading it. So, anyway, this friend of Ghost Dog's, this, you could say, I suppose, coworker. Coworker's not the right word. What's a synonym for coworker I'm looking for? Someone, you're in the dirty business with, But here's the thing, actually, Forrest Whitaker's character, he's a man of morals. He's a man of codes. And we'll get there, but that's what I love about this movie. It's just sort of it's more about a commentary on on the samurai lifestyle as a whole, which I thought was very cool. Just to sort of look and taking a magnifying glass onto that. Anyway, this man, he sort of sets Forrest Whitaker up. However, we don't know that at first. But Forrest Whitaker, he does this job for this guy, and he kills this man, and unfortunately, the daughter of a mob boss was in the room when Ghost Dog killed this man. And now the mob boss is upset, and he wants blood. He wants to kill Forrest Whitaker. Everyone on the goddamn street is looking for this guy, Ghost Dog, but they can't find him. And from there, it's just sort of a cat and mouse game via samurai and a bunch of gangsters. And I gotta say, what I loved about this movie so much, I loved what it had to say. I've never seen a movie make the comparison of samurai to gangsters and just sort of the way of living with them. I thought that was a really interesting take. Forrest Whitaker's character at one point sort of talks about how they're both sort of different, factions that are dying out, two different cultures that come from different areas that are just trying to preserve this thing. I just thought that was such an interesting and unique take. The action in this movie is fucking dope. Like I said, Forrest Whitaker gives an amazing performance from beginning to end, really. I mean, he doesn't even talk for the first... That's not true. He does talk a bit when he does the readings, when he's reading when he's reading the book to the audience. But the first decent chunk of this movie is a very quiet performance from Forrest Whitaker, but the facial acting is all there. It's all facial acting, but it's great. The cinematography is amazing. I mean, every department in this movie is really killing it. The cinematography is amazing. This movie looks great. And yes, that probably does have a happy lending hand to the Criterion, of course. But it's great. This transfer is amazing. I just had a really good time with this movie, man. And I could see people maybe being upset that a movie called The Way of the Samurai doesn't involve a man using a samurai sword. However, this is a modern day samurai movie, folks. We're looking at what that would look like nowadays. Of course the man is gonna use guns. Of course he's gonna shoot people. You don't bring a goddamn knife to a gunfight, people. However, it's not about the samurai swords, people. It's a way of living for this guy. It's a way of living for Forrest Whitaker. And I thought that was a really cool, interesting look into this character. And I mean, the ending is heartbreaking. The ending is heartbreaking and as badass as it could be. I thought it was really well done. Jim Jarmusch, I'm interested to check out his other work. I thought this was a very well-made movie. I should also go out of my way to maybe watch some more Forrest Whitaker movies. Yeah, this movie's great, man. I don't know what else to say. There's a female, there's a little girl actress in this. She's amazing. I'm lazy to look up names and remember them, people. We'll get there. We'll do notes one day. This is just sort of a freehand review off the top of my head. I watched this movie with my buddy James. Like I said, we both loved it. We talked about it for a bit. We both gave this movie a 5 out of 5 on the Letterboxd scale, if that's what you're going by. Yeah, I thought this was a perfect movie. I thought the pacing was great. I thought the storytelling was great. And everything really wrapped up in a neat bow at the end, I thought. RZA makes an appearance in this movie. Very short cameo, but I thought that was great. I thought that was cool. Yeah, man. I mean, if there's one highlight I would take from this movie, it's definitely Forrest Whitaker. He is just a tour de force in this movie. He's so badass. He's just one of those characters that just sort of radiates badassness, you know what I mean? Like Aura Farms, but not like obviously Aura Farms to the point where you're like, okay, we get it, bud. You're cool. Like, you're just like, oh my god, this is the coolest fucking guy to have ever roamed the planet Earth. And he is. And he most definitely is. You don't want to fuck with Ghost Dog. Let me tell you that, people. Ghost Dog has got 2 thumbs up from me. I highly recommend it. I know I didn't get into too much detail. I did see it a few days ago. I'm a little late to recording this. So hopefully when I, do other episodes, they'll be a little more fresh in my mind. Maybe to talk about more specific, key moments in the story. But yeah, the acting was great. Movie looks amazing. It's a beautifully shot movie. And especially on Criterion, the colors are popping. The colors are popping, people. I recommend it. Go see this movie. It's very great. Yeah. That's it for Ghost Dog, Way of the Samurai. Before I let you go, I quickly remembered a little bit of movie news that's going on in the world. In the world today, unfortunately, Letterboxd, this popped in my head because I had brought it up earlier. Letterboxd is foreseeably being looked at, being bought by Netflix, perhaps Amazon, and I'm sure a few other companies thrown into the mix there. People, listen. Can we ever have anything good? No, we cannot. Would anything ever be good if not once bought by a evil corporation? I believe not. Or maybe. I don't know. We'll never know because, shit like that, good things don't last, unfortunately. And it sucks. It's scary. I love Letterboxd. I've been on Letterboxd for years now. That's where I go to yap about my movies. If it wasn't for this now, created podcast, I don't know what I would do. I love Letterboxd. It's been a great way to go back and look at the things I've watched over the years. For Netflix or any one of these companies, honestly, to buy this app, I mean, it would just be awful, wouldn't it? It really, really would just be a great shame. I imagine all the Netflix originals instantly being an average of 4.5 on Letterboxd. But we will see. Nothing is for sure. Nothing is concrete, as they say. But yeah, between that and A24, it's just like, shit, man. Can you just, leave something good for us? I mean, come on. What are they gonna gun for next? What do we got? What do we even have good that's left? This podcast took a bit of a dark turn, but we're gonna end on a light note. I appreciate you for tuning in, if you did, and listening. These will probably be a weekly, bi-weekly thing. I'm not quite sure. I was thinking about it. How cool would it be if this podcast had a theme song? I feel like I don't know. I feel like a theme song is needed for a show like this, which will probably have to be created by me. I could do something. I could cook something up, perhaps, maybe. But for now, yeah, this is Ghost Dog, Way of the Samurai. Very much like this movie. Had a great time. I will see you guys soon. Thanks for tuning into the I Like Movies podcast. That's me. I'm the guy. The guy who likes movies. Fuck, I can't even remember my own podcast name. I'm the guy. I'm the guy who likes movies. And this is the Guy Who Likes Movies podcast. Thank you for watching. And good morning, good evening, and good night. It's a Truman Show. I don't know if you got that. I don't know if you got that reference. It's a bit of a deep cut. Well, I'm just fucking with you guys. All right. We'll come up with an outro eventually. So for right now, there's really not a clean way to sort of slither out of this situation other than to go goodbye. You're done. The podcast is over. It's kind of like Ferris Bueller at the end of the movie, you know, when he comes up and he's like, "The movie's over. Get the fuck out of here. What are you doing? Leave. Get out of here, yappy." Okay, you know what I mean. You know what I'm talking about. At this point, maybe I should just try and run the clock out until it gets to 30 minutes, because I like 30 minutes. Yeah, I feel like that would just look nice to edit it to be that. Alright, there we go.